Hi everybody, this is Tracy Lynn. How are you guys? Welcome to my channel. So this video, I am making a video where I am going over all of the different brands, all of the different pregnancy tests that I purchased, that I tried out. This is my second cycle trying to conceive. So I bought a lot of these tests for the first cycle, and then I bought more tests for the second cycle. And that's because my first cycle, I didn't conceive, and I have another video that I'll link below here. I think I have an implantation problem when it comes to trying to conceive. So I didn't conceive my first time around trying to conceive my first cycle, but I did conceive my second cycle. I'm currently 5.5 weeks pregnant right now. And so what I did for my second cycle is, for the first time around, I was using the Clearblue digital test. I was also using the first response pink line test, not the digital ones, just the pink line test. I also had the first signal Walmart test. They're 88 cents. I also bought the dollar store Dollar Tree test. They're called the Assured Pregnancy Test. So I had all of those tests the first time around, and I was getting big fat negatives. The second time around, what I did is I did my research online, and I found this company. They're called Sure Predict One-Step Pregnancy Test. Now, I purchased them on Amazon, and the reason why they're so special is because they pick up 10 MIU. So if you're someone that wants to, pick up on your pregnancy early on, we're talking about 10 or 11 DPO. The Sure Predicts, they pick up on 10 MIU in your system. So that's why I purchased the Sure Predict One-Step Pregnancy Test. And also, I was using the Clinical Guard ovulation test, and I really like them. So I actually purchased them as well. And I believe they're 20 MIU, but they're incredibly sensitive. So they were picking up the 10 MIU as well. And I'm about to insert a video for you guys to see. I actually tested from... I tested on 10 DPO and I got a negative. 10 DPO, I thought I seen a little something, but it was negative. And then I tested at 11 DPO, and that's when I got my positive. And my positive came up on the first response test. Those are 6 days sooner. So I had the positive on the first response. I had the positive on the Sure Predicts one-step test, and then the Clinical Guard test as well. And that was all at 11 DPO. Now, with the Sure Predicts, don't confuse them with another test. And I'm going to show them in the video that I link into this in a second here. Because they make on Amazon, they sell these green tests. They're just called one-step. They're just called one-step pregnancy test. So at first I bought them. I did my research. I was looking for one-step pregnancy test, thinking that there was only one maker and one that was called one-step, and it's not. Those tests turned out to be like 25 MIU, and they were horrible. I don't even think I got my first big fat positive with them. I think I was at like 14 or 15 DPO. And even, with other tests at like 15 DPO, 16 DPO, where I had a very strong line with other brands and other tests, with those tests, with the regular one-step test, and then also, believe it or not, the Walmart first signal 88 cents test, those weren't that sensitive to me. When I had very dark lines on other brands, those are the two tests that I wouldn't recommend, which would be the first signals and then the one-steps. I wouldn't recommend them. I know a lot of people love the first signal ones. I just didn't like them. So if you're looking for a test and you just don't have a lot of money and you just want to test, they're fine. They're fine. But if you're someone that is in particular looking for a more sensitive test and you want to catch your pregnancy early on, I wouldn't suggest going with the first signals. I did also try the dollar store one, the Dollar Tree dollar store test. Those I find to be a little bit more sensitive than the Walmart ones. I actually didn't mind them. But my recommendations are the first response, the Sure Predict one-step pregnancy test, and then the Clinical Guard. The Clearblue digital tests are all right, but I didn't get my big fat positive with the Clearblue test until I was, I believe, 13 DPO. The first time I used them, I was 11 DPO, and I got a big fat negative. So they gave me a false negative. So I wouldn't even recommend those tests for early on, for early testing, until, you know, you've already gotten lines on other tests, just because they're kind of discouraging when you're getting positives on other tests, and then all of a sudden you go to the Clearblue, which they're expensive, they're supposed to be one of the best, and they give you a big fat negative. You know, it kind of sucks. So I wouldn't even recommend those unless, you know, you're a little bit further along, like 14, 15 DPO, and you've already had strong lines on other tests. Also, I'd like to mention that I'm testing in the morning with all of these tests that I've used. Some of them early on I used at night as well, but the majority of these tests every single day, they're all first morning urine. Nice and concentrated urine, that's what you want. So I'm gonna insert that clip right now. I hope you enjoy that video. Hi everybody. All right, so as you can see here, I have several different pregnancy tests here, several different brands. I wanted to make this video to go over my line progression. So the first two brands that I would like to talk about here on this sheet, we have the Sure Predict one-step pregnancy test. And then on this side, I have the Clinical Guard pregnancy test. These are just cheapy internet tests. I bought them both on Amazon.com, and I bought the Sure Predicts here. They're a little bit of a chunkier, as you can see, a little bit of a chunkier strip. I bought these because they're 10 MIU. So these tests actually are that sensitive that they can pick up on 10 MIU in your system. So that's why I purchased these. I purchased the Clinical Guard ones because I have the Clinical Guard ovulation test, and they're very good. So, you know, because the ovulation tests are very good, it inspired me to try the pregnancy test. Now, I don't believe the Clinical Guards are 10 MIU. I believe they're around 20, but they're very sensitive. So that's why I have these here. I started testing at 10 DPO. But the tests were negative. They were stark white. So I tested again at 11, here 11 DPO. And you can see with the Clinical Guard, you can see that very faint line, which this is not a 10 MIU test, but with the Clinical Guard, you can already see a line. Here with the Sure Predicts, you can see that line as well. It's very faint, and I did take 2 of those that day, one in the morning, one in the evening. But you can see that line. Definitely it's faint, but it's there. And then here at 12 DPO, the line is a little bit darker. And I did take 3 that day, 3 of these Sure Predicts. And you can see here how the line is getting darker. It's really dark at night now. And then here with the Clinical Guard, you can see how it's darker at night as well. And then we have 13 DPO. It's a little bit darker. The Clinical Guard as well. 14 DPO. Now it's very visible. The Clinical Guard as well. 15 DPO. Very strong line. And with the Clinical Guard as well. 16. 16, 17, and then with these I only went up to the 18 DPO, and you can see that's a very nice strong line with both tests here. So if you're looking for internet cheapy test, I seriously recommend these tests, especially the Sure Predicts. If you're looking to be able to detect the hormone very quickly early on in your pregnancy, I definitely recommend these Sure Predicts. Now, don't get them confused with another brand. There's another brand on Amazon that are actually called one-step pregnancy test. And those look like these right here. So they actually come in a combo pack. I believe it was 50 tests. 25 HCG test and 25 ovulation test with the 1 steps. And this is this brand right here. It's just called 1 Step. And I believe they're at like 25 MIU, but this is the brand that I would recommend the least. These are just called 1 Step pregnancy test. I believe with these I started at like 14 DPO. This one here, the last one, is from today. So it's nice and strong today. The one behind it is previous, which is yesterday. And you can see how very faint these lines are here. So they didn't even start to show up until like 14 DPO. So I wouldn't recommend these, and I wouldn't recommend, here's the box, these First Signal ones from Walmart. Now I know a lot of people like these tests. They're 88 cents. And if you can't afford a bunch of different tests, they work fine. But if you're looking for a more sensitive test, in my opinion, these, the First Signal, and then also the 1 Step here in the green, these showed up last. The line showed up last. They weren't the most sensitive. And as you can see here, this was 13 DPO, 16. And the line compared to, let's look at, another test that's 16 DPO, this isn't that strong. So I just felt like these weren't that sensitive. So we have 16, 19, and then this is 20. This is actually today. And then I did purchase the dollar store test as well. And then I have the first response here as well. We have 11 DPO. You can see the line, 12. And I apologize, these tests are not looking the best. That's why I wanted to make this video. So we have 11, 12, 13, 14, nice strong line at 14, and then 16, nice strong line at 16. And then with the dollar store test, you know what? I find them to be just a little bit more sensitive than these here. So I like them a little bit more than the Walmart ones. We have 15, 17, 18, and there's 19 for the dollar store test. There is an Ept test, which I didn't really like this brand. This is at 14 DPO. And then there is the Clearblue digital test at 13 DPO. Now, one thing I want to mention with the Clearblue is when I got my positive, my big fat positive here with these two at 11 DPO, and then I also got it here with the first response. You can see that line at 11 DPO. The very first Clearblue digital test that I took, it was negative. It told me negative. So it was a false negative. So to be honest, my favorite test are these first response, non-digital tests, just the regular first response pink line test. I really, really like these. I wouldn't recommend taking these tests, the Clearblue, until you're a little bit further along, until you can see a stronger line on some other test. And then if you're looking for a very sensitive internet cheap test, there you go, the Sure Predict 1 Step 10 MIU test. They're on Amazon. And then also the Clinical Guard. These are some great tests. They're very sensitive. And also if you're looking for a good ovulation test for just a cheap internet cheapy stick, I do like the Clinical Guard ovulation test as well. And then also the 1 Step here, they're just called 1 Step. I definitely wouldn't recommend these. Their ovulation test, this is an ovulation test. It's a little bit better, but I don't really like these tests here. I took an ovulation test. I think this was around 16 DPO just to see what would happen. And there you go. So this is an ovulation test with a very dark line at 16 DPO. And the dollar store test, this is what they look like. They are the Assured Pregnancy Test. And they're not bad. They're not bad. I like them better than these tests here. So I just wanted to make this video to give you my recommendations. So guys, that was my video comparing all of the different brands. I hope that you found it helpful. If you'd like to follow me on this journey, I'm currently 5.5 weeks pregnant. It's so exciting. And I am going to be making weekly videos showing you my bump and just sharing with you, you know, all of the experiences that I'm going to have. So if you're interested, and if you're trying to conceive, you know, a lot of my videos that I have here on my channel will be very helpful for you. And if you are currently pregnant or you're just interested in watching these type of videos, definitely please do subscribe. All right, guys, thank you so much.